Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin, sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure to have Islamic relief here, and we have the department head for fund development, Hadji Abdul-Aleem Gamza, that is going to address us. And I thank Nesli for doing all the negotiations and the foldings and the name biting for him to get here. So, thank you and welcome.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي عمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
All praise and thanks is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our nourisher, our fashioner, our sustainer, Master of all masters, Lord of the day of judgment, and unto Him is our final return. Celebrations of our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, friends, companions, those who have followed him, those who are following him, and those who will follow him until the day of Qiyamah. We make dua to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that our progeny be of those who will follow until the day of Qiyamah. Ameen. First and foremost, let me take this opportunity to apologize for being a few minutes late. They say there is a reason why people are late, two reasons. The one is they wanted to be late. SubhanAllah, that wasn't the reason. The second one is it's an act of God. So we'll go with the traffic being as an act of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Slow me down, give me time to think a little bit more. But on behalf of Islamic Relief, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Imam, the committee, for affording us the opportunity to address you this afternoon. And as said by the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the best day in the week for the sun to rise is none other than the day of Jumu'ah. So how blessed, how fortunate, how honored, how privileged we are to be sitting here today, experiencing Jumu'ah unabated, not having to worry about perhaps what's for lunch later on, perhaps not to worry about not having water to take wudu, perhaps not having to worry about the windows being shattered because of a rocket attack. That silence, I wanted you just to experience those few moments of silence to appreciate how fortunate we are. And do we say Alhamdulillah enough times in the day for the bounties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us? When we look at what's happening around the world and our brothers and sisters in Gaza, do we take a moment to think and say, Alhamdulillah? Or do we say, yo, this masjid is hot, they should put aircons in? Maybe we say that the food later on that the wife has prepared is too salty, it's too hot, it's too this, it's too that. But do we take a moment to say, Alhamdulillah, Allah indeed has favored us to be able to experience a Jumu'ah like this, to be able to experience the plate of food. It reminds me of two ayats in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل إن الصلاة ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. Another ayah which I'm sure, which everybody knows in Surah Rahman, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كل من عليها فان. Why do I quote these two ayahs? It's very simple. We look around us, we see over 11,200 people having been killed in Gaza. We see children lying on beds, babies lying on beds without incubators. 60% and more are women and children that have been killed. And a percentage of that, about just over 500 people, are the elderly. that have been killed? Do we take a moment, do we spare a thought, do we spare a dua when we think about our brothers and sisters in Gaza, our children in Gaza? I saw a little thing earlier on, well actually it wasn't earlier on, it was last week, WCMSF. WCMSF. That is in the hospitals of Al Shifa and the Indonesian hospital. It says, wounded child, no surviving family. Do we have that morsel of belief, that morsel of connection to our brothers and sisters in Gaza? Many people today and last night were crying. They were crying not for the brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine. They were not crying because of the suffering that's happening around the world. They were crying because the Proteas lost the semi-final. They were moaning about it. They were groaning about it. Yet that very same people, the squad of the Proteas, does not even know your name. They do not make dua for you. They do not spare a thought for you. Yet our brothers and sisters in Gaza, no matter how difficult the challenges are, you know, Islamic Relief has been working on the ground in Gaza for the past 26 years, since 1997. Our team is working diligently day in and day out. Every single night we receive a report of the work that is being done. Why do I share that with you? Because not to elevate Islamic Relief, because we're doing a fantastic job, subhanAllah, is to tell you, when you speak to those brothers and sisters who are taking care of those who are most in need before they take care of themselves and their families, when you ask them, brother, how are you guys doing? What do you think the answer is? Do they say, please go to the United Nations and ask them for ceasefire? Do they tell you to speak to this community? Do they ask you to speak to that community? They say, Alhamdulillah. That is what their answer is. So we go back to the ayah that has been read earlier on, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ, verily my prayer, we say this, my prayer, my sacrifice, my life and my death is for none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine are paying with their lives. They are paying with their lives. They are trying to save what? Your heritage and my heritage, which is the third holiest site in Islam, none other than Baytul Maqdis, Masjidul Aqsa, the masjid where the Isra wa Mi'raj took place. That is what we must believe. That is the reality. So our brothers and sisters, we are saying, Inna salati, my salah. Wa nusuki, my sacrifice. Now I'm asking, as I'm standing here, what are we sacrificing right now? What sacrifices are we making right now for our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine? The sacrifice that we have to make, and we have to think about this. Yes, I implore each and every person to make dua for them in every single what that you have. When you're making Fajr, you make dua. Dhuhr, you make dua. Asr, Maghrib and Isha, every single waqt you make dua. But dua, my beloved brothers and sisters, is not enough. It does not come without action. It does not come without sacrifice. What are we prepared to sacrifice? Are we prepared to sacrifice? Maybe today I will not buy some takeouts, I'll give my money to in a good cause, whether it be to Islamic Relief or another NGO. Am I prepared to say, this month I'm not going to have paid television, I'm going to take that money, I'm going to give it towards Islamic Relief or another NGO? Are we prepared to make those sacrifices? Are we prepared to say, I'm prepared to sacrifice my time in service of humanity to be able to make the lives of my brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine better? One of the reasons why I'm late, I addressed a school, TLC in Mitchell's Plain. And you know, when you stand and speaking to kids from grade R to grade 7, you have to try and keep them engaged. And when I asked them the question, generally when you ask the question in Jumuah, I say, what do you think your brothers and sisters are going through in Gaza? You can expect me to give you the answer. But they were so eager. They were so eager to give the answer. When I asked them, what do you think your brothers and sisters are going through in Gaza right now, the children in Gaza are going through right now? They said, they are fighting for their lives. They said, they are hiding to stay safe. They said they are making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah brings relief upon them.
Ameen.
They said they are trying to find their parents. They said they are thinking about where am I going to get some clean drinking water? Where am I going to get something to eat? These are little children that were thinking about their brothers and their sisters in Gaza and Palestine. As adults, we need to amplify it more. We need to take it a little bit higher. And we need to not only think, we must talk about it, and we must action it. So go back. Inna salati wa nusuki, the sacrifice that our brothers and sisters are making for their lives. We are asking you to say, you know what? Let's sacrifice from what we have, what Allah has given us, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted us with. Because when we die, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will question us on the day of Qiyamah. How have we spent the money that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us? SubhanAllah. You can say, the middle of the month, is that dry salty time of the month. Maybe we don't have the dry salty anymore. Maybe it's something else. SubhanAllah. Maybe we have something different. Maybe we do something different. But are we prepared to sacrifice? And you know what? In another ayah in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, who of you will loan to Allah a goodly loan? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need a loan from us? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala need anything from us? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us that 1,000 rand, that 100 rand, that 10 rand, that 20 rand, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that to us, why does He need a loan from us? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us. You know, the reality is that our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine, they are passing the test flying colors. SubhanAllah. They are passing the test with flying colors. The other test is lying with you and me. And so how are we going to respond? How are you and I going to respond? Are we going to take this message home and speak to our families about it? Like, you know, we sit and we talk about the politics of the world. We speak about so many other facets that happens and maybe insignificant. But the suffering of our brothers and sisters in Palestine, do we have these conversations over a meal with our families? Do we educate? Do we inform? Do we get educated and understand what is happening? These are very important things, my beloved brothers and sisters. The other ayah that I've quoted, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كل من عليها فان. What does that mean? And everything shall perish. You and I will perish. The wealth that you and I have will perish. The houses that you and I have will perish. The cars that we drive will perish. Everything, single thing will perish. So I'm asking you the question on this day of Jumu'ah, why? What are we holding on to? What are we holding on to when everything will perish around us? Subhanallah. When the only thing that we should be holding on to is the robe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance of our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When you look at the life of our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, how many examples do we see in his life? The most giving of individuals, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the most giving of individuals, the most generous of individuals. And when it came to a certain time of the year known as Ramadan, he was even more generous and more giving. Where does that leave you and me? How generous are we? How giving are we? How sympathetic and empathetic are we to the cry and the plea of that child in Gaza who doesn't have a mother and a father? Ya Allah.
Allah.
How are we responding to that child or that father or that mother who has lost a limb? Ya Allah. Lying in hospital, there's no medication, there's no anesthetics, so they can't even, when they operate, it is Bismillah, operate, and they feel every single action. Can you imagine if you gone to the dentist maybe, and the dentist didn't give you an anesthetic, and you feel that drilling or whatever he does, and it's kind of painful, you say, oh, anesthetic, God, please give me. That's only in our mouths. But when you've lost a limb, what must that pain be like? We have, we here in Cape Town and in South Africa, we are in a community that responds to the plight of those less fortunate. Alhamdulillah. We are very blessed with that. We are very blessed that we are a community that responds to the plight of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And the call is once again being made for you and I to respond. The question is, how will we respond? Do we change the channel when we see something about Palestine? Somebody said to me, I've got Gaza fatigue. So, what does that mean? Gaza fatigue. They can't bear to see the images on the screen. They can't bear to see what is happening in Gaza. What must that mother and that father feel like when they see that their little child has been killed? Do they have time to feel fatigue?
Allah.
When they are running from bombs raining down, do they have time to say, sure, I'm feeling tired, let me rest? They don't have time for fatigue. When they have nothing to eat, do they have time to feel fatigue? I don't think so. And I want to end off, I know I have a couple of minutes left. I want to take us back to the year 2020. COVID-19. The masajid was not like this. It was empty. There were times when there was no Jumuah. All of you can remember that, I'm sure. It's not that long ago. 3 years ago. And we said to Allah, oh Allah, take away this pandemic from us. And oh Allah, when the pandemic is taken away from us, we will fill your masajid. Allah. For everyone. Oh Allah, when you take away this pandemic, I will worship you the way you want to be worshipped, oh Allah. Oh Allah, when you take away this pandemic, I will give more charity, because that is what I want to do. I want to draw closer to you, oh Allah. I feel connected to you. Go back to 2017, water restrictions. We made Salaah, we made dua for rain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send us rain. Oh Allah, when you send the rain and you fill up our dam, we will use water sparingly. Again, the answer, you know the answers to these questions. How have we responded? Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us once again. And the test here is that maybe it's only images, maybe it's stuff that we see on social media, but how are we going to respond? We can turn a blind eye and say, we're moving dua for them, may Allah grant them ease. But I know, and I'm going to share another story with you. I have to share the story with you. Manenberg, everybody knows Manenberg in Cape Town. What is Manenberg known for? It's known for gangsterism and drugs. It's known for that. And when somebody comes knocking on the door of the offices of Islamic Relief, what is the first thing that comes to our mind? When we listen, when we hear that knock, we open the door, we think, oh auntie, what is it that we can help you with? And she has bags. It's a day like this, it's hot. And she comes in, and she wants to sit down. I said, mashallah, please sit down. And she says, I'm a pensioner. Allah grant you ease and grant you comfort. She says, I live in a Wendy house in Manenberg. I look after my grandchildren. A pensioner, I live in a Wendy house, I look after my grandchildren. And one of my grandchildren is a paraplegic. Now we're waiting to hear what is the outcome of what is it that you would like, my dear mother. And she says, I had this money in my cupboard and I had to come to Islamic Relief because I was afraid that if I kept it for one more day, somebody would break into my apartment or my unit and take the money, and I would not be able to give this money to Islamic Relief. Now I want you to picture this. Pensioner, living in a Wendy house, looking after the grandchildren, and in Manenberg, and she is concerned about the plight of this ummah. And she says, opens a purse, and out, what is a pension these days? 1,600 rand or something? And she says, here is 800 rand. Here is 800 rand to alleviate the plight of my brothers and sisters. Now this is somebody who has nothing, very little, but prepared to give as much as they can because they understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them more than they can imagine, not only in this world, but in the hereafter. So all I'm saying to my beloved brothers and sisters, we have this opportunity to dig into our pockets, to use we've got card machines at the back, we're sophisticated these days, snap scan, you name it, you can make those payments. There's no excuse. But when we leave here today, let's leave here by sending a message of hope to our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Gaza, to show them that this ummah is like one body. When one part of the body feels pain and injury, the entire body feels it. And we connect our hearts to their hearts, and we send them love, and we tell them we care about them, and we tell them we make a dua for you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you freedom and gives Baytul Maqdis back to the rightful owners in the land of Muslimin, inshallah. Once again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, Imam. I know I've overstepped 2 minutes, subhanallah. But Jazakallah khairan, it's been a pleasure to be here, and we are here this afternoon. Please engage us in conversation, ask us the hard questions that you may have, but ask all organizations those hard questions. I urge you to do that for your own sanity, to make sure your money is going in the right direction as well. Jazakallah khairan. We also make dua for those who have passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them in their qubur. Those who are sick, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them shifa al-kamila. We make dua for our children who are writing exams, that Allah make the exams easy for them. May they be successful at whatever it is that they are doing. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
We say Jazakumullah, and thank you so much for your inspirational talk and motivational talk. Hadji Abdul-Aleem Gamza is the department head for fund development for Islamic relief. Thank you all of you that have come out. Thank you Cape Town for your contributions. I think I've said the story before. Many years ago, in 1995, I took a group of my students and people to Palestine and Umrah and Egypt. And then with 2 of my friends, I broke away and I was in the mountains with the PLO. And the one statement they said, "You people of Cape Town, we will always respect you because you do more for us. Although you're far away, you do more for us than the Arab leaders in the Arab community." Actually, on my Facebook page, I put a thing, you can go on there. Even the donkeys do more than the Arab state. They at least carry the bodies to the Qabristan. Really, subhanAllah. So let us be. And the other question I've normally been asked for many years, everybody's collecting for Palestine, and the money doesn't reach Palestine. I wouldn't have brought Islamic relief here if I did not ask that question. And you've heard in the speech that they do have a base, and the money does get there. And so please, we must also have husn al-dhan when we speak about our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters. Always think good first. Yes, we must be careful, but don't always think the worst and then want to opt out and do nothing about it. That's the worst form of laziness, or maybe I would use a stronger word, of being a traitor. So be very careful. Allah protect us from that. Protect our hearts. We are living good here. Our brothers and sisters are suffering. So do your bit outside, let it be part and part of it. I will be part and part. You don't leave until I give you something. Thank you. Thank you again for being here, Islamic Relief. 1 or 2, you must have seen for the first time with Ali, there was one of our friends, Brother Siraj, is walking with a car. It's the first time we are introducing the car, so please do assist us. Otherwise, give me your card and PIN number, I'll do the rest. And we also make dua for one of our mu'adhins, Brother Niyaz Brown. They have their first baby, mashallah. That's why he's not here, Allah grant him all the goodness, the coolness of their eyes. And thank you, each and every one of you. You always put something in our mosque account. We really need it. Thank you. As you know, there's not much of a community here, so we depend a lot on this. Thank you so much. Allah bless you and protect you. But more importantly, for Gaza today. Thank you so much.
Allahu Akbar. أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا
أصابها الله وأدامها وجعلنا صالحا يا مستوى في عجله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وتولنا فيمن توليت، وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت، وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت، فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت، تباركت ربنا وتعاليت، فلك الحمد على ما قضيت. نستغفرك اللهم ونتوب إليك، أنت الغني ونحن الفقراء إليك، أنت القوي ونحن الضعفاء إليك. اللهم اكشف عنا من البلايا ما لا يكشفه غيرك. اللهم اسقنا الغيث سقيا رحمة ولا تجعلنا من القانتين. اللهم افتح لنا لك فتحا مبينا وأنت خير الفاتحين. رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. اللهم انصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في فلسطين، وانصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في كل مكان أينما كانوا يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين، فقطع دابر القوم الذين ظلموا، والحمد لله رب العالمين. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله العظيم التواب الرحيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام، تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. اللهم انصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في فلسطين، وانصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في يمن، وانصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في أوغير، وانصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في هند، وانصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في كل مكان أينما كانوا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا يا مولانا يا أرحم الراحمين. ويقول الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون، الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون بخير دعوى هم فيها. سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام، وآخر دعواهم عن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الله من